Welcome to Beyond the Ordinary Show. Today, we're going to be talking about mystical connections. Is that right?
No, we're talking about purpose to profits.
That's what I thought. I don't know where
Yeah.
we got mystical connections from, but there's got to be something mystical about purpose to profits that we're going
Well,
to get into.
there is. So that's all good.
So we're going to drop in. Y'all tell you with the amazing Marilyn Aloria. And she is one of the most epic teachers
Oh, thanks.
guides. It's true. I hope that you all sit back, relax, prepare to receive, and perhaps prepare to be somewhat interactive as well, because this is going to be very engaging. And Marilyn's going to take us into how to solidify our purpose.
Hmm.
How do we finally anchor it in? How to overcome our limiting beliefs? And it's talked about in so many different ways, but the way that Marilyn really brings it through, it's no nonsense, straightforward, and you're really tapping into a truth of an essence that's you. It's so beautiful. And how to build your confidence and discover
Hmm.
your pathway and so much more. So it's going to be an amazing call. Get ready for Q&A because we'll probably drop into some of that. And I hope you all enjoy today's call. Marilyn, welcome.
Thank you. I'm like really excited to talk about this. There is going to be a little ass kickery, so everybody be prepared for
Great.
that. I don't think it'd be anything but I've just gotten to a place this year, and I noticed this when I did the predictions, and I do predictions every year and stuff like that, that it's really important that people who are skilled and gifted and have been sitting on their gifts, now's the year they have to get out. And if they don't get out and do it, John, by the end of this year, it's going to be a friggin' shit show, excuse my language.
I
So that's
agree.
why I'm glad we're talking about this. And I do have an incredible formula for finding your purpose so that people can anchor in. And one of the biggest issues people have, they think it's because they have to get out of debt, or they don't have the right skills, or they don't know how to do this or that. And that's all, some things, that's all part of it. But really, the biggest problem is that people don't believe in themselves. They don't believe in their gifts. They don't believe in what they have to offer. So I'm excited to talk to you about this because you and I both have been, growing our businesses for quite some time.
Yeah, we have. And needing to believe into what's emerging through us. And it's beautiful because we enter it at a certain point, but over the years, how it grows and
Oh,
how it's even the people that we're serving or working with, they even it's like, wow, your trajectory of growth. And had I thought that I had to be where I am now 12 years ago when I started this, I never would have done anything,
yeah, it's so true.
right?
Say more about that so people can hear that because that is so true.
Well, there's a certain confidence that comes with experience, but there's the adjusting and acclimating. So let's talk about spiritual community. And we're going to get into from purpose, from passion to purpose, because it's
Purpose
all
to profit.
purpose to profit. Sorry. Um, we talk about the acclimation that is happening on a spiritual and energetic level. And we're slowly gauging, we're awakening consciousness. And we want to be at what people would call the endpoint, the Shangri-La, the 5D, whatever phrase you want to use, because we anticipate a sense of freedom there. But we've been going through the steps.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're really following the steps, the gifts that are presented in those steps, they just can't be bypassed. We have to acclimate those gifts. And had I known everything I know today when I started, I may not have taken some of the risk. I may not have gone to different
Yeah.
places. I may not have invested the money that I have. Ignorance, not ignorance, the guidance along that trajectory on my path was so perfect. And I would have missed out on several opportunities that I don't think I would have landed where I have landed. It would have been a different trajectory that I don't think would have been as fruitful for me.
Yeah, there's so much to be said about that. And it really, what people need to hear is that the unknown, we don't know where we're going to end up. We don't, if we knew that this was where I was going, I've been in this business for like 18 years.
Mm.
And I had no idea when I started that this is where I'd be today. And then really, I'm starting, as I told you, creating something new right now. People need to step out into the unknown, not wait till things are aligned, until they feel ready, until they feel like I've got this figured out, I got that figured out. Just get out and do it. And I've got to tell you, I'm really losing patience. It's not good with people who keep telling me they're going to do a business, they're going to do a business. I got to do this first, I got to do that first. And these are the same people who have been talking about doing a business for the past like 5, 10 years since I've known them. on social media,
Yeah.
and they're still not doing it. And I can't stand back anymore. So I created something, and I have a formula that I want to share with all of you guys today that I feel is going to give you the oomph to believe in what you're doing. Because I think for you and I, John, you did a couple of career changes. I think I've done
Oh, yeah.
three major changes. And then in this career, I've done a couple.
Mm.
So I feel like it's easier than you think, and you always have to follow your heart and your soul. And everybody's like, what's my purpose? What's my purpose? Your purpose shifts and changes as you change and grow. And I love the fact that you said you just kind of have to go on the journey with it and see where you end up. And it's so perfect for you.
I wouldn't skip the journey. It's been absolutely amazing. I would not have wanted to skip to the end knowing what I know now.
Yeah. I wouldn't have wanted to skip the journey either. I have to say that I could do without some of the lessons, although can I, just
Right.
things like that.
Yeah.
And so I hope to help people with those lessons. Like, don't do
Yeah,
this, do
but
that.
but and that's fantastic. But sometimes those lessons are preparing us so that when we're at another scale, that lesson doesn't wind up costing us so much.
True.
So how do we approach the lesson? How do we integrate it? How do we discern and really kind of map out according to what's being called in our trajectory and not be afraid of them, but really surround ourselves with good people. And then again, what you talk about, which is it's the alchemy, solidifying your purpose, overcoming limiting beliefs, building
Yeah.
your confidence and discovering the pathway and taking action and
Yeah.
taking action. So I want to ask you a difficult question, and then I want you to just completely dive into it because I'm so ready for my community to really receive this.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I'm going to turn on my heat because it's friggin' cold down here.
all right, well, I'm going to turn on the heat with
Your
a
audience,
question.
the people that are watching that don't know me, I don't play by the rules.
Thank goodness.
Go ahead.
That make it. So what qualifies you to teach this?
Oh, that's a great question. I love that
Mm,
because I've lived through it myself. Every career that I've had was based on a passion that lived inside of me. I didn't even know it was going to be a career. So when I was going to college, I was studying accounting, and my brother's like, "You're not an accountant. You need to go into television communications," which I didn't know what it was. And I was like, "Okay, I'll go to television communications." I did an internship at MTV, started working at MTV, and then NBC Olympics, where I won the Emmy, and started working in TV. And while I was working in TV, I started working on myself in therapy because I was unhappy, even though I had this incredible job, was traveling everywhere, was meeting all sorts of celebrities. And through the therapy I was doing, she's like, you need to go to improv acting classes to get out of your shell, to feel more confident. And I went into an improv acting class, and I was like, oh my goodness, I love acting. And
mm,
I always wanted to be an actor when I was young, but always kind of went around it. So I left TV and became the lead in an off-Broadway play and was acting. And then as I was acting, my psychic medium gifts were just blowing up and opening up like crazy. So I was like, okay, let me learn about tarot. Let me learn what's happening. And then before I knew it, I was a full-time reader and teaching people how to create, how to work with their own intuitive gifts. And that's when I came home to my soul. That's when I literally came home. So I have done it each and every time. And then, as you know, I've been in business. So I was a reader with big wait list to get in for readings. I was already teaching, and then I had membership for your soul, and I was teaching people constantly. And now I have next level living where I'm teaching career people who are leaving their careers to write a book and speak on stage, and they're doing their mission driven business. So that's why I feel like I'm an expert in this field.
mm. And you're also so proficient at discovering the holes and filling them up with potential of what's actualized in someone that they're just not seeing for themselves.
True.
And that's one of your biggest gifts as far as I'm concerned. It's tremendous and such a momentum builder for anyone who has doubts or doesn't know how to move forward and putting their passion into action.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. And I do believe, John, that I'm glad you're highlighting this. I have the ability, my guides have the ability to see your expansion, what you're meant to do, where you're supposed to go. And they can see even greater and bigger than the person sitting in front of me. And a lot of times we think we're dreaming big, but they even see even greater and bigger than that. And then they have a way too of putting your life experiences together to create a career that is so aligned with you. And that's the thing. We're not trying to fit into another career that's out there. We're trying to take everything that we know and create the career that is with us. And I do feel I am very gifted in that area where I'm able to pull it all together and say, this is what you're meant to do, or to help clean up something that somebody's working on and help them to go further. So thank you for saying that. I appreciate it.
Course. So how do we get into that place of solidifying our purpose? And some people may feel like they're on a trajectory, maybe they want to start doing something, but it's just not taking off. But it feels like something is off on the purpose, perhaps. Or I want you to talk more about that because again, finding purpose and solidifying purpose, I think are two different things.
I agree. I agree. And I feel like solidifying purpose is a constant thing. So don't
Mm,
look to solidify it, look to grow with it. So
okay.
one of the reason this was born from many reasons, which I'll give quick stories, but the reason one of the biggest reasons it was born is because people would come to me and I would be doing readings for them and I'd say you're a healer and they'd be like, "Oh my goodness, somebody told me I was a healer, but I don't know what healer to be. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. Should I be Reiki? Should I do this? Should I do that?" And they got frozen and they couldn't do anything.
Mhm.
And I was like, "You're missing the whole point. Like a healer is so much more than just Reiki and so whatever's out there, matrix energetics. I'm not that kind of a healer, so I work with healers like that." And that really bothered me because they were missing themselves in that equation. They were trying to mirror what was already out there, and they were alienating themselves, their soul. And that's when I came up with the formula, and it was because it worked so well for me. And when you're in this formula, you're able to grow with your purpose. Because if we try to get our purpose right, we're missing, you know this, John, we're missing everything in our life. So we want to start with a purpose, we want to move forward in it, and then we want to let it change, grow, and evolve. Did I answer that question right?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Um, so and again, I feel like there's two components. I don't know what my purpose is. I know there's something for me. What I'm doing just doesn't work. It doesn't fulfill me. It's soul sucking. Um,
Well,
or
that's not purpose then, right? As we
thank
know.
you, right? But again, I don't know how to find my purpose. I don't even know how to
Yeah.
begin to discover it. And then there's, I think I'm in my purpose, but for some reason, it's just not taking off.
Yeah.
You address each of those with the work that you do.
Yeah. I'll give the formula in a minute, but let's address it's not working for me first.
Mhm.
It's not working for me because, and I know this for a fact, you don't believe enough in yourself or you don't believe enough in who you are and what you're doing. And I'm not saying to you because you've done amazing things. But even as we grow into different parts of our lives and different parts of our business, like right now I'm moving into a whole different thing, there's there's the doubts that can come up. Can I do this? Am I the right person? Are people going to see me this way? So what really stops people from moving forward in their business is not the skills, it's the belief. And once you believe in what you're doing, the messaging comes because so many people won't go out on social media, won't do a reel, won't do like sensitive spiritual people. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm like, well, how are people going to find out about you? They need to find out about you. I don't care how you do it, but you need to get your stuff out there. That's the first answer. So that's why I think people are stuck and it's not moving forward. The I want to go through the equation really quick. The equation is life experience plus skills plus passions equals purpose. So when you put all these print things together, you automatically come to your purpose. And you know this, John, just like I know it. Your brand is your brand. My brand is my brand. You could have 100 Reiki healers in a room, and all they're doing is Reiki, and every single person will deliver something different based on who they are and their life experiences, their skills, and their passions. So my whole goal is to get you to uniquely know your brand and your purpose so that you feel confident going out and talking about it.
Mm. I really appreciate that. It takes me to when I started Beyond the Ordinary. There are some big shows out there doing it really well.
Yeah.
Um, and I remember having, Jennifer McLean was running her summit, which was huge.
Hmm.
And I was just starting mine. I didn't have an email list. I was borrowing somebody's. And she came up to me. She's like, I wouldn't do it if I were you.
Oh.
It's a dwindling market. I'm thinking about getting out. It's not the same as it used to be. It's a dying platform. Um, I suggest you go somewhere else. And I just kind of looked at her and I was like, no. And my guidance was coming in. It's like, you're going to do it differently. And I even asked that question, who am I to do this?
Hmm.
And and the answer that I kept receiving from myself, it's like you're bringing your unique flavor to this.
Yeah.
You're bringing your experience to it, exactly what you're saying. Um, and and there'll be traction for that. And just trust. And just something about that forward momentum of just of that knowing that confidence that just came. It's like I don't care who the expert is that's telling me. I know that I'm bringing a unique aspect into this, and it's kind of like a rock song playing a song.
Hmm.
It's like you've got the commercial singers and rocksters, and they try to fabricate something, and it kind of lands. But then you have the ones that are writing the original songs, and whoever shows up to the concert shows up. Whoever doesn't show up, and it's all okay.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like that type of energy. It's like I just trust that kind of like if you build them, they will come.
Yeah.
But again, that alchemy that you talked about was there for me.
Yeah.
Those pillars.
I love that. That's just such a great story because people need to hear that. They need to hear like at that point in your life when you're like, I don't know, but I'm doing this and I'm being called to it. And then somebody with her stature, and I'm friendly with Jennifer a lot, and I love Jennifer, but with that kind of energy coming in and saying that to you, 90% of the people would be like, oh my goodness, she's right. I've got to do something else. But when you anchor in the way that we're talking about, your heart and soul is like, no, this is what I have to do.
Oh yeah.
Every career that I've had, there was nobody could, even if when I decided to leave NBC Olympics, they were trying to keep me for the next 10 years because they got all the contracts. They were trying to hide me into another space for 4 months before the contracts kicked in. I think it was 12 years. So I would have had a job for 12 years.
Wow.
And I was like, no, my heart and soul is telling me to act. It's just telling me I need to act. And I had no experience. And I just had my little resume with all the scenes I did in acting class. And I answered an open call for a equity show, for the lead in an equity show with 100 other actors. And if anybody had told me not to do it, I didn't even hear them because it didn't matter.
Mhm.
And it's the same with readings. I had no idea that that was what I was going to be doing. I was just following my passions. I was just learning a skill. I was just moving forward in my life experience. And then all of a sudden, everything just opened up to me. And it is that easy.
How do you teach people to find that knowingness, that confidence within themselves?
That's a good question. I feel like it's all through intuition and using your psychic abilities and going inside and not looking outside to get the answers. So, marrying my expertise now of like learning how to talk to your guides and developing psychic abilities, which was my expertise for such it still is, and then moving it into learning how to use your purpose, you put those two together, they're beautiful.
Mm.
It's like you listening to inner guidance when somebody of that personality comes forward and saying, nope, I'm going to listen to my inner guidance. So I teach people how to really trust their instrument. It's the most important thing. This instrument, my instrument is so much more important than your instrument.
Mm.
But it doesn't mean I can't be coached by you, but still, whatever you say to me, I'm going to go inside and say, does this feel right to me? Does this feel good to me?
Right. And I really appreciate the way that you teach these awarenesses and these embodiment tools really
Yes.
that come through because you make them fun, you make them interactive, and they're so effective.
Yeah.
What kind of wins have you seen from clients that have worked with you that have like started from I don't know what I'm doing into something else?
I have a few that have already authored books. I have another one that's going out with a Megillah of a book, channeling a book.
Wow.
One, I think one's listening because I saw her. She wrote a book and then she's ready to put out a book of poetry. Another one in art shows. A healer that is just starting to kick butt, man, because she's believing in herself like crazy. Another one who's jumping into animal communication in a way that she's always wanted to. The most amazing thing about that one is people we could let me share this quickly and I would love to know in the chat. I haven't looked at it yet because I'm trying to stay focused. When we were younger, John, you answer this question for me too. We knew there was something special about us. We just knew it. It wasn't an ego. It was just we felt our light. We were gregarious. We were assertive and fun and lit. But because we're so empathic, we were able to feel the energy around us of people who maybe felt jealous of it or envious of it. Maybe our mothers were upset about it, or a best friend was feeling not so good about themselves because our light was so bright. So
Mm.
many of my clients dimmed their light in order to make other people feel better. I don't know if you ever struggled with that. Did you?
I did. I struggled, and it was my own judgment because, again, I was so empathic that I felt other people's limiting beliefs about themselves.
Mm.
And I felt like how they weren't to strive. So I would titrate myself back in order to fit in and so that they would feel good about themselves.
Yes. Yes. So you can think about that moment when you were like, I'm not doing this anymore. Because
Mm,
you can't survive. It's like suicide. Forgive me for using that language, but it's like death of our souls. And we all
true.
decide you can't do it. So I watched this one woman in my program, and she's so talented. And unfortunately, and they're all really talented. And unfortunately, she went into a program with another channeler, and she never gave me the name. She was so sweet, but I know who it is. And the other channeler was threatened by her gifts. So
Wow.
she was like doing that. And you want to make sure that you get around people that are going to see your light, see your brightness. There's no, with my work, that's peer to peer. Even though I'm an organizer, I'm a teacher, I'm a masterful at it. I don't think I'm better than you. You're not better than me. We're all here in this community space to accelerate and grow. And so the results I have seen is the belief in themselves. My Denise, another one who draws these amazing mandalas, but now she's going into another area, and people are using them as logos and for her books. So people are having a lot of success. But the thing that she said to me is, we come in believing in ourselves, and you teach us how to really fully trust ourselves. And that to me is the best. So, because I was like, is it belief or trust? She's like, well, we kind of come in believing in something, and then we fully trust. That's it.
Mm. What I find a lot in what I hear about a lot in community and the way that I experience it, there's some people, but I've got my business and I've been running it for 10 years and people barely come and people don't know about me and just
Yeah.
I don't know why work's not getting out there, but they carry the shrinking energy when they talk about it.
Yeah.
What can be done to break through that glass ceiling?
They're comparing themselves to other people. They're feeling like like I hear this a lot, like, I built this product and nobody bought it. And I'm like, well, how did you put it out there? Did you
Mhm.
really put it out there with a belief that people were going to change their lives? Did you really, because we have to validate a product, right? So not always do we have that belief. So I find that a lot of it's a combination of things. It's again believing in yourself enough to have the voice and to be seen. People are still hiding. And
Yeah.
then the other part of it is they do need a skill set of marketing and learning how to put themselves out there.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like most people that come to me, if they haven't gotten the clientele that they desire, there's something inside of them that is still holding themselves back. They're afraid. Like, I had one woman in my program finally put a reel out, and then somebody from high school commented on it. And she was like, oh no, I'm not ready for that. She was okay with being seen with the people who didn't know her, but the people who did know her that saw her, that was scary.
Right.
And a lot of them aren't even aware that that's going on inside. So if you're
Mm.
not aware that you're afraid of that stuff, you're shutting it down before you even know it. So I'm just going to share really quickly, like, when I went out as a medium, all my MTV friends accepted it for some reason. It was weird. And I asked one of them who worked for me at one time, I was like, why did you accept that right away? It was such a different trajectory. And she said, because you were so honest at work. We all knew
Mm.
you weren't lying. And so I think a lot of people think, I had another woman in my, we do membership, member led bonuses. And I had another one teach something. She was always like, I know how to do this. I'm great at this. I'm like, I believe you. Go teach it. Man, did that mess her up? Because she was like, she realized she was insecure about teaching. You have to get out and do it. And I don't
Right.
care, John, we both know this. Products fail.
Oh
It's
yeah.
all part of it. I heard the
Hmm.
most brilliant story today from a multi-billionaire about all the failures. That happens. But if you
Hmm.
really believe it, you've got to keep pushing forward.
What I found, my personal experience growing through the show and other avenues, I was Always great at business. Entrepreneurship it's just in my wheelhouse. I was a horrible public speaker. You
Oh,
put if I had
I
to
was going to
public
talk about
speak
that.
in front of someone and talk about a particular topic, I'd fumble through it. I was nervous. It wouldn't land. But when I started the show, it's like the wellspring just went off. And what I discovered was, and you talked about this earlier, when I was public speaking, I was talking about somebody else's information.
Mm,
I was talking about a subject that wasn't necessarily my passion. I
mm,
wasn't speaking from personal experience. I was speaking anecdotal based on somebody else's experience. And that integrity of that wouldn't land for me. How
yeah,
could I speak well of that? There's so many other people that are much more better qualified to speak of that than me. But when I found really that that central point of my wheelhouse, and I could feel just the aliveness, how much I love talking about this, how I love having conversations, how much I love sharing. I can talk about this all day long. Put me on the
yeah,
stage and I'm on in high heaven. But I never in my life ever would have imagined that public speaking would be like one of my biggest talents.
yeah, yeah. So I want to address two things here. One is it's exactly what I said. If you don't believe in yourself or believe in your message, that's why life experience plus skills plus passion, when you put the three of them together, and I'm going to share about how this worked for me, you could speak about it until the cows come home. It doesn't matter. And you're not trying to be like the famous person out there or this person out there or that person out there. You're just being yourself. So I just shared with John, I did a conference 2 weeks ago or less than 2 weeks ago, and I was one of five authors or six authors, I can't remember. And so when I arrived at the conference, I arrived a little late. I was, the last time I did something like that, people knew who I was and nobody knew who I was. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. Nobody knows who I am. So we did the first book signing at noon, and I think two people came to my table. And the one famous medium, she had a line, a line, and good for her. Like, I don't care, great. But I was like, wow, this is fascinating. So she got up to speak, right? So she was doing her presentation, and most everybody was there for her. And I was called to the stage right after her. And I'm so comfortable from being an actress. I'm a storyteller. I'm so comfortable on stage. So they introduce me, and Ariel hands me the mic, and people start leaving. And I'm like, where are you going? You're not leaving here. Where you going? So I started calling them out. And I just started having fun with it. And this is where I'm talking about life experience plus skills plus passion. So my life experience of knowing I can talk about guides till the cows come home. I could talk about mediumship and psychic abilities. I had no comparison energy with her. I wasn't jealous. I was happy for her. I was so grateful that her people were there for me. They got to know me. Got on stage, story told. That's my acting skills. I used my life experience, my skills, and then my passion of just moving people forward. The presentation blew it out of the water. My book sold out right after that. I had a line at the next book signing, with her, which was happy. And I don't go into these things, like, I really don't. I can't stand competitive energy in those spaces. I have no patience for it. I have no time for it. But it was fascinating to do that, John, and to not get thrown on stage. I didn't care. I was like, I'm here for you, and I'm going to do the best. And one of the things you'll notice when you're on stage, and I know you know this, I know, so I'm going to teach somebody these. This is off topic, but I put Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel, and Archangel Raphael between me and the audience. And the reason why I do this, because I'm so empathic, I had two women in the audience. They had resting bitch face the whole friggin' time. And I knew them, and I know that they don't really like me. And they were just sitting there like this. And I was like, I don't care about resting bitch faces. I just don't care.
Mhm.
And I was able to be so present. There I'm using again all my skills of trusting guides, teaching, my humor. Everybody was laughing. I
Mhm.
love it. Like you, I love it. But what makes it so powerful, both you and me, is I am being me.
Right.
I'm not trying to be like anyone else. The times when I was a medium and I was knocking it out of the park, and there was all this noise in the space about what kind of medium, what's the right medium.
Mm.
I shut down that gift of talking to deceased loved ones for a while because I was so tired of it. You never want to do that. You don't want to shut down your gifts because of other people. So I
Hmm.
just put a bunch of things in there, but I hope that that helps.
No, it's tremendously helpful. So I know you're going to get into your personal story and how you use these tools, and we'll get to that in a second. I also want to get some Q&A,
Yeah.
but why are you guided to lead this unlock from purpose to profit? What if someone's not even thinking about, they're just want to start with purpose? You're taking them through a journey into habit to expand beyond what they believed. It's like finding the purpose is just like the entrance to the doors. Okay, now do what to
Yes.
do with it, right?
Yes.
And so I really appreciate that you're guiding in this way so that we can, again, we can take those gifts and do something with it. We're here to live this life.
And make money from it.
Thank you.
Make money from it. Because they're here investing in our programs and they have a story to tell to help others. And it's value. I don't want to work with anybody who would want, well, I wouldn't ask you to give me something for free. I don't want that. I want to pay you and have that energetic exchange.
Mhm.
Everyone just, so what was bothering me is, okay, you discover your purpose. Now, how do you make money from it? And that was the biggest thing. By the way, I need to know what camera you use because it zoomed in at the most for the perfect time. So the reason why I put this particular product together is because I am very practical, as you know, I'm very grounded. I have had different businesses. And I feel like I've studied so much. You know, I've studied with all the straight-laced marketers. I've learned the skills. I'm still studying so much. And I wanted to put it in a very comprehensive, understandable thing to help people grow their business because I think they get very caught up on how to do it. So the purpose, like you come in and you learn your purpose, and then you go into what kind of program should you sell? Is it coaching? Is it a class? What is it? A mastermind? I want people to start getting clear of the product they need to sell in order to make the profits because I think people get very scattered on what they should do and they don't know how. So I want to teach them. And that's aligned, right? For me, you know, it was like I'm doing readings again because I like them, but I used to do a lot of coaching and I'm not doing any coaching anymore. I don't want to do it, right? It's just not right now. I like speaking with groups. Like I have masterminds. That's what I have. Like, so I want people to learn where is their sweet spot. Like you and I said, it's speaking. I'm writing a proposal for a second book. I like writing. I want people to learn what it is, and then I want them to make money from it. Did that answer that? I always
It
ask
does
that
answer.
question because
No, it's yeah, yeah, it does
yeah.
answer it. And again, it's I actually want to go through the special offer and go through what
Okay.
you're going to take everybody through because I think this is so important. And even giving something an amplification, again, for the purpose for me, it's time. We're at a point in time that it's time to light up that purpose.
Oh, can I say one more thing? Finish what
Please.
you were saying, then I have
Yes.
one more thing to say.
No, go ahead, please. I knew that was going to stimulate something because it's these times that we're in,
Yes.
we can't hold back.
No.
And 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 if we hold back a little, we're going to feel the suffering of that holding back. Imagine holding back a lot.
Yeah.
It's just undeniable where we are in time right now, how we're evolving in consciousness, and how everything is becoming so much more clearer when we're in alignment and when we're not.
So we I'm so happy you brought it back to this because we're entering a time where the phonies are getting so we don't want that. We want the authentic, real, honest people.
Mm.
And people have been so bamboozled out there that the people that are listening to this that have something to share, they have to come out with their message now.
I
They
got the
have
chance.
to. And there's so much suffering going on in this world and it is such a shame that you're sitting on a gift that can help someone that was in a place where you were 2 years ago, and you can help that person. And I know your community, John, and I know the people I attract, they thoroughly care through and through about somebody else's well being.
But yeah.
And that is what's being called for right now. And we have to get out there and support these people who need this healing so this domino effect of healing can happen out in this world. The way that I see myself, the people I'm working with, they're way showers. light workers, whatever you want to freaking call them. I don't care. And I see myself standing behind them with my hand on their back, nudging them forward, helping
Mhm.
them forward, supporting them to move forward. Because I can help maybe 50, 100, 500 people, whoever I'm helping. They're going to help another 100, 500, thousands, 10,000. Some may reach millions. I don't care.
Yeah,
What a domino effect in this world, because we are all done with a lot of the, and I'm not calling people out because I have no patience for that, but we are done with the nonsense that's out there. We need to get the truth out there, the real people out there.
I agree. I love that. I can share that I've hosted people that have said they've been listening to my show for 10 years and they decided to come out and I could just feel something
Yeah.
in them. It's like their authenticity and their passion, but their gifts as well. And there's been several who come on the show who've just been amazing and have grown their businesses and are doing things that they didn't think were possible, all because they believed in that spark that was inside of them and they kept following through, which is amazing.
Yeah. It's, I can't express this enough. Like, it's almost selfish, and I hate to use this word, to not
No,
get,
I think it's a strong word and I think it's appropriate. I'm glad you're
yeah,
using it.
it's to not get your gifts out there and help others.
Mm-hmm.
It really is, because you're waiting till you feel confident. Don't. You're not going to feel confident until you're out there. You might feel confident right before. You might be in John's program, my program, you'll start feeling it. And then there'll be a little insecurity that comes in, but who cares? Because there's going to be somebody who's listening to you that all of a sudden changes their life because they heard something you say. They heard your story.
Yeah. There's a beautiful quote and I'm going to butcher it a little bit, but it basically says, when I'm aligned with my mission and my purpose and my service unto others, it matters whether or not I'm afraid,
Mm,
right?
so true. So true.
Yeah. And
And what I feel too is like the people I'm helping, a lot of the people have been in a job that they don't like, right? Maybe they were passionate about it at one time. They don't like that job anymore. And they had some life experience that made them do some soul searching work. And through that soul searching work, they discovered this truth about them that's been there all along, this thing that they have. And now they have to get it out. It's their mission driven work.
yeah.
And I can't, please. But I got to tell you, this is where the ass kickery comes in. I can't listen to the excuses anymore. I can't listen to people arguing for their limitations. I'm too tough for that.
Yeah.
Somebody was telling me, "Yeah, I'm gonna get to it. I'm like, you've been saying this for 5 years. I'm done with hearing it." And
Mm.
this isn't anybody in my program. These are people that follow me. Don't do it. Don't wait any longer.
Yeah.
One woman I saw at the conference, she's a client. She's been a client and not a client in my programs now, but like has followed me. And I was like, "How you doing? How's your business going?" She's like, "I'm moving, but probably not quick enough for you, Marilyn." And I started laughing. I was like, "You're probably right, because I see your greatness.
Yeah.
I see it."
Hmm.
Okay, go.
It's
Let's go to
wonderful.
the offer.
Well, everybody, the link for the special offers in the chat box, click on that. If you're watching on the BTO website, click on the special offer button right below the video. And if you're watching to the replay on our YouTube channel, find the link in the chat box or in the comment section. And Marilyn, guide us through this amazing program that you're
I
taking people.
love this course, and we're getting such incredible feedback on it. People are getting a lot of clarity from it, and they're getting a lot of clarity about like what product they should build, what is their mission, their brand, their unique brand, who they are, and everything. So I really do love this product, and it's born from everything. So it's unlocked from purpose to profits. The key is confidence. That's not what it's called, but for some reason we'll fix that product page. It's really called from purpose to profits. So what you're going to get in here is different modules. First one is going to be solidifying your purpose. That's the equation I just took you through, that formula. You're going to do that formula in real time, and you're going to really solidify what your purpose is. Then we're going to talk about overcoming limiting beliefs, because that's what John talked about. Like, my product didn't sell, or this didn't happen, or my brother isn't going to like, oh, my brothers didn't like me. They're not going to like what I'm doing. All that kind of stuff is what's causing you to stay hidden. So we're going to talk about overcoming limiting beliefs. Then we're going to talk about pathways to profit. This is where you're going to like decide, what is the product I'm going to focus on for my business? Is it a book? Is it coaching? Is it a digital product? Is it a workshop? I go through the different models and I make it fun. And you guys are going to decide this is the product, because when you have a lot of different ideas, you don't do any of them. So we want to start you with one idea to get it out there. Then I'm going to teach you about selling with confidence, because selling it's so interesting to me because selling is such a fascinating thing, especially for sensitive people. And I don't want you selling to people who it's not worth for, who you don't want to convince people. You want to sell with confidence from your story. And I recently shared this with someone, like someone came into my arena and by their assessment, I could tell they weren't the right client. And I'm done with convincing people. I'm not dragging horses to water anymore. So there's no, like most salespeople will tell you, oh, push them into it, push them into it. You got to convince them. No, sell with confidence, sell through your story, learn how to sell, and the right people will come. And the people that I serve are great. And then building confidence in that selling even more. So it's a two-part module there where you're going to really deep dive into it. And then where to go from here. The last module is like just taking you on a journey. The other thing I have is a free call, which is February 25th at 2 p.m. And if you have questions, if you buy this product, you can email me at care. If you can't be on that call, from now until that call, when you buy the product, you email me at care@marilynaloria.com. I'm going to guide you through. I'm not going to do readings in those emails, but I will guide you through. I will help you. You're struggling with something. I'm there for you. So I want to help you succeed. It's really important to me. So we'll do a live call on Tuesday, February 25th at 2 p.m. And I got to tell you, the feedback I got from this product, I love this product, has been phenomenal. So you're going to be really, really happy with it. John, do you want to say anything about it? I don't think you can. Where are you?
I I'm here.
Okay, there you go.
I am here. So as you were going through it, someone that's like, okay, it's like I want to instigate this and I want to do something. And you're going, you can sell from this, you can do this, you can, it seems overwhelming
Sure.
sometimes when we hear all these phrases. How is it in this program that people don't have to feel like, well, first of all, I think part of the overwhelm is just because we're just ignorant to those processes. And
Yeah.
I say that in the most compassionate way. And so once we gain a little familiarity, we actually find out that it's not as difficult as we anticipated.
Yeah.
But how is it in this that it's not like this big, I'm getting so much information at once and I can't.
You're not. That is such a fair question, and it's such a good question because the way that I built this program is you're not going to get overwhelmed because you're literally, if you go module to module to module, and they're not very long modules, and there's obviously workbooks and stuff in there, you're going to go through a natural trajectory. So
Mm,
it's not getting overwhelmed with information. I think a lot of people, you're going to come in there like, I don't know if a lot of people that have communicated with me, they're like, I didn't know if I should write a book or if I should do this workshop, if I should do that. And the course helps them to narrow it down to what their sweet spot is. So you're not going to get overwhelmed. Instead, what you're going to do is take a lot of information and be able to distill it down to one, your purpose, what makes you so unique that you can sell what it is that you do, and then what product to go out with first and foremost that's really going to make you excited when to talk about it. I think a lot of people are apprehensive about social media because they're not excited to talk about it. And when you go
mhm.
through this course the way that you do, you're all of a sudden like, oh my goodness, this is totally what I'm meant to do. I am super excited to talk about it. And that's why I don't feel like it's overwhelming. It's not about, I distilled it down to what you need so that you're on a really solid journey.
Amazing.
That's a
And
great question though, because people do get overwhelmed with product and I didn't do that.
yeah, and I knew that would be the case with you, but I wanted
Yeah,
to
but
have it
you
back
know, you never
in.
know.
But I want to know, no, I know how you teach and you're at such a beautiful pace and you allow for the acclimation, but also for the growth. It's like we're not holding back and you're not going to be stuck on one module forever because again, it's time. It's time, but it's presented really beautifully. One thing that I want to mention about the profits portion of this,
Yeah.
um, I can share. First of all, profits are fun. It's amazing, and lifestyles are great and everything else. But I also understand that profits are a barometer for the reach that I'm having in the world.
Mm,
And so we take into account the exchange of currency and the currency we're outputting, and then the reciprocation of we'll call it financial currency coming in. They're a measurement of the impact that we're having. And it's always wonderful to receive that we're having impact. Remember the first
mm,
sale on BTO was like, I felt as high as a kite. It's like I impacted somebody's life. We
yeah.
impacted somebody's life. Somebody received something that they wanted to go in deeper with what I was sharing and how wonderful it is to be received in that way. So if we look at the energetics and the emotions and the human exchange that really happens on the highest level of prophets, it's something to really settle into and receive, um, because it really does indicate where our consciousness is expanding and how we're serving one another.
Yeah, I love that. And the other thing too is you're talking, it's like when I pay for something, I'm giving value to myself. I'm saying that I deserve this particular thing that I'm buying because I'm good enough and I deserve it. And then when I'm paying someone else, I love being able to acknowledge them for how they can help me.
Mm.
And I think that's the most important thing that we have to realize. Like, I don't negotiate with people over prices. It's of no interest to me. I used to be a great negotiator because I learned how to do it at MTV. We were always getting blood from a stone. And now I'm like, okay, that's your price. Cool. That's your price. I get to choose if that's a price I feel that I want to pay right now or not, if I'm choosing to pay or not. That's really, really important. Value is I haven't heard this in a long, long time. I'm not even gonna get into that conversation of, you know, I'm not even gonna go there because it's, give it away for free. Don't give it away for free because the person who's asking for it for free is not gonna do anything with it. They're not
No,
gonna make the changes.
I agreed. Agreed. It's my biggest mentor that I call it broke the dam open. The amount of money that I paid to work with her for 10 weeks was unimaginable for me, but I
Yeah.
knew I needed to do it. When I finished the 10 weeks, my whole world had shifted.
Mhm.
And at the end, she told me, you know what? I was going to give it to you for free, but your guides came in and said, you got to charge him or else he's not going to do the work.
Yeah.
And I would not have. I know I wouldn't have.
You also wouldn't have given it value if someone's coming to me and like how many times this happens too, and I'm like, "You're charging that for a reading? I'm not sure that I trust you then for a reading." Or you're charging that for coaching? I don't how much do you value yourself?
Mm,
And I'm not saying I'm not into these people out there going, "I charge $100,000 for coaching or 3," and they just wanna say a price to make themselves feel good.
right.
Like, look at me. That's not what I'm saying. That's the other thing we teach in the program is like I'm pretty sure I talk about pricing in it, but pricing is really important because you got to feel aligned to the pricing. It's not just saying a price because that's going to give me value. It's because I know what it's worth. I know what I'm worth. Like I never lower my reading prices. People are like, "Will you I'm like, "Never. I never discount them because I know what you get in the readings."
Mhm,
But
absolutely.
these products, I love being able to offer at this price because I love being able to give value to mass community. It makes me really happy, actually.
Well, and when you talk about the price, y'all, this is only $97 to get
Yes.
the full course. And just, Marilyn, if we just broke it down into the purpose aspect of this course, that's a game changer also, isn't it?
Yeah. The say that again?
If we just broke it down and if we just went into like,
The
okay, help
purpose.
me find my journey into purpose,
I get it.
just that by itself.
Yeah,
Shit.
I'm telling you, like, I realized this formula when I looked back at all these different careers I had that literally magically fell in my lap. And I went, "Oh my goodness, that took me here, and that was life experience, and that was the skills, and then I took that life experience, that skills, and that passion, and brought it here, and then brought that here and there and there." And I was like, "Oh my goodness, it made perfect sense." And nobody can be me, nobody can be you, nobody can do it, and I don't even get concerned about that.
Hmm.
There's no way. Nobody's gonna even do a reading the way that I do. Nobody's gonna do a reading like the way Sally Joe does it. It's
No,
gonna be whoever speaks to whoever, and it's not about like I'm better or anything like that. It's like I'm Marilyn,
right.
and that's it.
But you also know the quality of your
I do.
work. You have the confidence in
I
it.
do.
You have the experience of knowing the truth over and over again as you show up as Marilyn.
Yeah. And
And
that comes with sorry, go ahead, finish that thought.
no, no, go ahead, please.
No, and that comes with experience. So people that are waiting to have that feeling, you're not gonna have it unless you're going out there and getting the
Right.
experience.
Exactly.
Teaching, sharing, coaching, reading. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the fantastic program again, the journey from purpose to profits. And if you're not quite sure where the profits would come from again, activating the purpose, developing confidence, at knowing thyself in such a way, it guides into other opportunities. And like we talked about earlier, it's time that we not hold our gifts back um, for the sake of fear or the fear of rejection or not being accepted or ostracized. Those days are long gone. Um, to be playing in those waters for us
Yeah.
to to not express the beauty of love that we're here to share with one another. So I love that Marilyn is bring this on, y'all. This offer, amazing price at only $97. Uh,
Yeah.
I hope you take advantage of it.
And also remember something, it's paying coaching with me is like 15K for 6 months, and that's only 2 sessions a month, that's it. You're gonna get access to me via care@marilynalori.com. I care deeply about people, so I do answer those emails. That's my personal email. Don't email me if you didn't buy the product and ask me questions. You can ask me questions about the product, that's fine. Actually, you can email me, don't worry about it. Um, this is the point I wanna make right now real quick, John, as we go into questions. Imagine the greatest teacher you had, whether it's a therapist, a school teacher, somebody who was paid for the service that they gave you and they helped change your life. Imagine that person stayed hidden and didn't come out with their gifts. Where would your life be? It's like the person you just said, if person, that coach you hired, if they decided to stay hidden, you
Yeah,
wouldn't have had the breakthroughs.
I wouldn't have.
We've
No.
got to get out with our gifts, and we've got to start giving our gifts for the value that they're worth, so that somebody out there can have the change in their life that they're so desperately seeking.
Oh, I so appreciate that you brought up that question. That's deep. That's just it's that just it just knocks it front and center. Wow, wow. Y'all, it's time. It's time. Um, the link's in the chat box, the link's underneath the video, the link is in the comment section on YouTube. Y'all dive in with Marilyn. You will not regret it. I know that. Uh, let's get
No,
into
it's a great product. I'm telling you, people love it.
let's get into some questions. If y'all want to raise your hand and ask live questions, do so.
Yeah,
We're going to get into it. I want to bring up Tanya's question first. And she says, what if you don't have a passion for anything and you
great
have no
question.
idea what might bring you joy?
That's a great question, Tanya. I feel that this course would help you because it would help you to remember who you are, remember the truth of who you are. And then I have 2 other techniques that really are really good, like to learn how your passion goes. And one of them is by tapping into go through your day and start rating your day from the events in your day from 1 to 10, 1 being not so much fun, 10 being great. And you're going to be surprised at what you're passionate about. I have 2 different things to do, but I'll just give that one for right now. You are passionate about something, it's just covered up with mind chatter that you've lost it. So you're kind of probably confused and listening to other people's voices, and you've just lost it, and you might be in a really part of your life which we've all been in, that's really like the hamster wheel dullness. But I'm telling you, when you slow down and you get conscious and you just do some techniques and tools, you're going to discover your passion. And I believe in the course that you're going to discover what you're passionate about as well, because you can't not, and you just can't. You're here for a reason. You're here because you know that there's something you're meant to do. But rate your day, and then the other thing is a souls list, but, it's too much to get into right now, so I'm hoping that helps you, Tanya, but trust me, you're passionate, you know where your passion is, honey? You're here right now.
Mm,
Passionate about this conversation. You're just
beautiful.
not seeing your passions, that's it.
Mm.
Hello, Linda.
Linda, let's go to you, Linda.
Did you wanna say anything to that, John?
No, let's go to Linda.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, Marilyn. Thank you so much for calling on me, John. Yeah, I don't know exactly where to focus my passion because I was blessed. I had a beautiful chiropractor who taught me many things
Mm,
and for a bunch of years. And just lately, when I've been working on people, I just feel like I'm not doing it. It feels like it's
yeah, it's coming through you.
amazing. Yeah, and it's like it feels like amazing. I exchanged with my girlfriend the other day and it works so well. I mean, I walked away and I felt like I was ecstatic for the whole time. But she's very good too. She's excellent. So, but it's hard to narrow all of that down because I've had other experiences with energy healing and stuff too. So, eh, how
Why
do
are
you
you
narrow?
supposed to narrow it down?
I don't know. I
You're not supposed to narrow it down. You're supposed to go into that expansion because that's what makes you unique. Your quality is unique, who you are unique, just the way you spoke about it. What was fascinating is when you spoke about it, you gave credit to the chiropractor, which I love. That's okay. I don't have a problem. Then you gave credit to your friend, which is great too. But I want you to just give credit to yourself as well. I have no problem with that. But acknowledge the gifts that you have, the expansion that's coming through you. Nothing needs to be narrowed, it needs to be expanded. And what I'm hearing from my guides for you is that you may be creating a modality that you're not even aware of. You're meant to write a book about this. You're meant to write a book about the people's experiences on the table. So definitely don't narrow anything down. When I talk about messaging and deciding on a product, you may just start out with the one-on-one work, right, that you're doing and honing in on that and talking out however you want to get your message out there, what you do. Because here we're talking about a very big magic that you have that probably a very small amount of people know about. And
Sure.
when you focus on like what you just shared with us here about, I want to know more what Linda does and what goes on that table. And there are going to be people out there that want to know. So the only narrowing I would do, there's no narrowing. It would be the conversation of what's going on with that client.
Okay.
Does that make sense? And John, I'm
Yeah.
sure has something to share about that because we usually work in unison and off each other.
Yeah. You guys are both good together.
Thank you. Well, what's wonderful about what you're sharing, Marilyn and Linda, also is that I find that I get so caught up in the stories of the experiences, and there's such life to what I'm aware of because of the experience that I have of what other people are experiencing, that it adds a life to it, and other people become more intrigued about it. It like
Mm.
it becomes contagious, and let me share my story, and then you add to the story, and then you add the other story, and then we kind of wrap it up, but you're bringing your heart. It's like this energy of you that's guiding the interaction. And again, the focal point where that conversation or that focus begins, it's like there's a magnetic pull for those who are ready for that exchange with you. And it's so beautiful because all that happens is you're just being yourself.
Hmm.
Amazing. I get paid for being myself. It's like
Me
I've got
too.
the best job ever.
That's why I stopped acting because I didn't want to be anybody else anymore.
Mhm.
So, Linda, one of the things, and I want to ask a question to the group because I want people to really think. But one of the things I would say to you is like when I started reading, I was blessed that the internet didn't really exist.
Okay.
And it's kind of great in a way because I didn't know it was, I couldn't even find a book on clairaudience. My guides had to teach me everything. There was one book with one chapter on it. And in a way that was beautiful because all of my readings were just really kind of taught by my guides. They said, do this now, do that, this is how you open up. And there were a couple of people I studied with, and only a couple of them I would say were expansive thinkers. The other ones were trying to like pigeonhole me into being a certain way. And I was like, F you, I'm not doing this. I really had a bucket, in a way, because there were like 300 people in the room all following the guru. And I'm like, I can't do it that way. That's not how I'm told. So I don't want you to do it anybody else's way, but your way. And I want you to consider that, notice if there's limitation that comes in, where is that limitation coming from? And get rid of it or examine it if there's limitation. And I'm only saying not limitation about your work because there's no limitation there. I'm saying on how to get your work out there
Yeah.
if there's any
Okay.
limitation.
Marilyn,
My biggest question for everybody, and I want to hear what you have to say, John. I'll wait for my question then.
well, yeah, I don't want to lose this thread. This is really important because I'm finding also that a lot of us are going through like new stages in life and redefining ourselves. And so sometimes it's not even the limitations, it's just that we can't see that blind spot or that window of opportunity quite just yet because we're blossoming slowly into it. What can we do to help with that blossoming process to really fertilize this new inspiration at this new stage of our life?
You're asking me that?
I'm asking you that, yeah.
Yeah, and same answer. I would know, you know, for me, I can't be anything but who I'm here to be. Like, it's really what I'm teaching about going inside. When you're with your guides working through you at the table, I would say to Linda, go sit with them because they want to tell you something about how you're supposed to work.
Okay.
So whenever I got met with, you have to do it this way, you have to be in spirit circles for 5 years. And I'm like, I'm already working full time as a medium. What are you talking about? Like, if I listen to that, and I would just go to my guides and be like, what am I supposed to do? What do you want me to do? Like, where am I going? What am I supposed to say? And how am I supposed to open up? And then they would just take me places and teach me or pay attention to the synchronicities that are happening. But the blossoming is from the inside out. So that's how I blossomed every single time. And I would take those signposts of someone pushing. I kind of almost, I don't invite it anywhere, but I kind of like when somebody goes up against what I do in a way out in the world, because I'm like, I'll show you, you know what I'm
Challenged.
saying?
Yeah.
And I just do me. I'm always doing me. That's not to say that I don't get out there sometimes and then hire someone that I think I'm supposed to hire because that's what everybody else is doing. And then like that was 30,000 down the drain, you know, but does that answer the question, John? I know you have an answer for the blossoming too, but for me, it's really working with my guides and my soul.
Working the guides in the soul and being open to the new. It's like, okay, we're stepping into new terrain. I've completed a certain initiation in my life, and what's next? What's next? And again, it's being willing to just again share from the authenticity of who we are, but really to put it into action. Again, for Linda, with the experience that you have, not teaching from the past, but teaching about what's lighting you up now.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
that's how you inspire other people.
Oh,
Uh, a lot of times we don't even have subjects for the show here. It's called Beyond the Ordinary for a reason. But I find that if we keep trying to teach an outdated formula over and over again, that our community, where they are, th- they hit a ceiling that there can be well beyond. So that's why it's always the expansion and the exploring and diving into something more, because I don't expect you to be the same person you were yesterday as you are today. And if we hold that truth within ourselves, then that adventure and the freedom of that growth really engenders, and there's a path that reveals itself in how we draw community and the exchange that happens by sharing our gifts.
you know what John, when you said that, I saw a key opening a door. It's a
Mm,
green key. It's like it's almost like that colored thing that you have back there on the table. And it opened the door to possibilities, to wisdom, to infinite wisdom. And that's what you're doing, Linda. And what
mm,
I love about what you just said, like I'm putting you into a purpose to profits so that you can take your expansion and figure out how to put it out in the world and continue to evolve with it. So it's really important that we don't just label ourselves with something and stay with that label. And I'm so glad you said it, John, because who you are today is not who you're going to be tomorrow. And when you're doing this work with clients, this is what I've learned. I always teach my people who are doing readings, you grow exponentially with every client. You just can't help but grow exponentially. And it's not, I never project myself onto a reading or a coaching session, but it doesn't matter. They're growing me at magnitudes, expansive speeds. And then I have to go out with a whole other level of wisdom. And when my students are with me and they're talking to me and asking me a question, it's just coming through me, the answers. It's a totally different experience. And you know this, Linda, and everybody on here knows this. When we just let go and just follow the feelings and the energy and the conversation and the channeling and everything, that's when it all starts flowing.
mhm.
It feels magnetic.
It is. It's
It is.
beautiful.
It is. Linda, thank you for coming on.
Yeah,
It's
thank
Thank
you.
you
But
both.
here's my question to everyone. Like, and I want more people to rate. I would like to talk to more people. I really would. And thank you so much, Linda. What is it going to take for you to decide to grow and get out there? And Linda, I think you're already out there, but what is it going to take for you to grow and decide to get out there? That's what I want to ask everyone.
beautiful. All right, Linda, blessings.
Please.
Thank you for coming on.
Okay.
Um, I have a question that came in from the Nuda and Lindy. If you want to start your video, I'll call on you in a second. Danuta says, I've lived my whole life hiding behind others, feeling I was not the chosen one to help humanity. I've been now discovering my gifts, but need to figure out how to branch it out, not having a platform or support network.
You're gonna have to say that again. I got distracted by video. I'm a visual person.
Okay, so Danuta's been hiding behind other people for a long time, not the chosen one. She's now been discovering her gifts. She needs to figure out how to branch out, put her gifts out there, but she doesn't have a platform or a support network.
Okay, great. So my biggest answer to you, Danuta, would be like, what do you need to figure out? You already know. You already know what you're meant to do. Yes, you may have to figure out the platform and you have to figure out the support network. But what I would suggest to you, first of all, I'd ask Danuta right away, like, where do you feel called to talk? Where are you spending time? There's some marketing in this, and it's like, where is your client? Where is your customer hanging out? Because you want to speak to an audience, a community that is ready to receive you, right? So if they're on YouTube or if they're on Instagram, then spend some time there, because once you're on a space and a platform where you already know your people are, it's easier to talk. So you're not going to go on LinkedIn possibly and talk about what it is that you want to talk about, but you may go on YouTube because that's where people are and that's where they want to hear from you. And then the community just naturally comes. The community doesn't come when we stay quiet and we're hiding in the closet. The community comes when we get out there and we just start dribbling out there. You can dribble it out if that's what you need to do. I close my eyes because I'm communicating. You can dribble it out. That's totally fine. But get it out there and you're going to have the people that are, they're going to be like, oh my goodness, where has she been? Where has she been? We've been waiting for her. And it reminds me, I'm not going to say the person's name because I personally don't like them, because I met them and I don't like them. But there is somebody out there that the person put out a YouTube video and it went viral and then it just made them huge. And they help a lot of people. A lot of people speak to them, but those people were on YouTube searching for that message. And then that person finally, the person told me, I finally just started talking about this one thing that I've been wanting to talk about. So
Oh,
I
wow.
think that that answers it, right, John? Because you're, where are you drawn, Danuta? I'd love to know, what audience are you drawn?
And where are you having conversations? Again, but part of this community beyond the ordinary and part of our log line is coming out of the closet,
Yeah,
coming out of the
please come
spiritual
on, tell them.
closet. And we can say that we have gifts, we can acknowledge the gifts within ourselves, we can be in our cave and weave magic in the cave all day long and know that it's true. But unless we step out of the cave and share, then how's anybody else going to know that those gifts exist within you?
They're not. And you know, here's the other thing. Don't wait to get it perfect, because you won't.
Mm,
It's like what Linda said, when you start sharing it and it starts coming through you, and that's what's going to happen for you, Danuta. It's just going to come through you and you're going to be like, you're going to realize getting it perfect was exactly opposite of what they wanted you to do. They just
mm,
want you to be and get it
yeah.
out there. So please get out of the closet. I mean, I had a podcast for a while that was called Who Can It Be Now? And it was like the tagline I couldn't find the tagline for a year and a half. I did this podcast. I didn't worry about it. Finally found the tagline, who can it be now? It's you. It's always you.
Mm,
And there was a beautiful image I had drawn by this magnificent artist of these ghosts coming through doors. It's you. It's always you. So answer the calling, walk through the door, and get out there in your community. And then get into safe communities like John and my community. My community builds each other up. John's community builds each other up. Do not go into a community where a teacher is going to try to put you down or where other people are going to compete with you. Don't do it.
mm.
Although competition can be good, because you could be like, F you, I'm leaving.
You know, one gift that I want to share that I think most of us have on this call, and I'll say most of us because I don't know the range, but I know my demographics, and it's the gift of our age.
Oh,
At,
yes.
at our
Yes.
age, we care less and less of what other people think,
Totally.
right? And
Totally.
really use that as a superpower
Yes.
to really speak your truth. And who cares? If you know your foundation of your truth and the love in which you're emanating from, if 1,000 people get it wrong and the one person that needs to get it right gets it right, that's more than enough because that impact can be profound.
I'm going to share a really quick story.
Yeah.
so when I was studying, a lot of this didn't exist, and I had to do a lot. My guides, they're teaching guides, so that's what they are. But I did go to different mediums, a couple of them, and there was this group of mediums that just followed these two mediums around. They were like their groupies. And they were the meanest friggin' people I've ever met in my life. And I remember I was up one day, the medium brought me up, and I have really incredible spirit communication. A lot of us probably do. And I was doing my thing. And I went into the bathroom after I did my thing. And this woman looked at my boots and she said, "Yeah, you got really heavy boots on." That was her only thing to say to me. She commented about my boots being heavy. So I decided to go to one more class with the other medium they followed. And I did all this preparation when I went in there so that none of them would bother me. And I went in and I did readings and everything, and I felt so good because they were very competitive, and that's unfortunate in some of the spiritual spaces. Fast forward years later, they they were just an interesting sort, and all of them were still in the same space. They were still working and studying and not getting out there, and I was already out there. And I got invited to speak somewhere, and one of them came up to me and she reminded me of who she was. She's like, "I saw you, we were at blah, 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 we studied with blah, blah, blah." She had resting, she just wasn't very nice. And it was so interesting to me because I went on that stage and I knocked it out of the park on that stage too. And I just looked at the people who were still in the same place, not moving forward. And I felt for them. I didn't feel like, "Look at me." I didn't care. I was like, "Oh my goodness, it's so nice to meet you again." And da, 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 da. And she just was not having it and not really wanting to talk to me. And so the point of the story is I want to just show you that I've been in different circles where people have not been accepting, and I never let it stop my gifts. I never let it stop me. The only time I did was when the spirit, I decided to stop talking to deceased loved ones so much. I just took a break from that a bit. Don't let those things, because what happens is you, before you know it, you're the one on the stage and they're still in the audience. And I don't say it in a way like look at me. I say why, and I didn't allow it to affect me. I did not allow those criticisms to affect me.
Yeah,
I hope
yeah.
that made sense, because that was a lot of stories wrapped up in one. Let's talk to
That's a
point
great
number.
story. Great
And I
story.
want to hear in the chat, um and the yeah, I love it, I love it.
Well,
Go
we
ahead.
have Lindy. We have Lindy that came on. Lindy, why don't you unmute yourself and what's your question for Marilyn?
I always
Lindy,
say I'm psychic, but I'm not that psychic, Linda. You
yeah,
have to
Lindy, you're
unmute
still muted. Can you unmute your
yourself.
microphone? Let me see if I can. There you go.
It just get a like something just popped up and I couldn't get to it. Anyway, about the age thing, I'm probably the oldest person in the room. um, I'm a way shower light worker, and I was starting out in the early 90s. And I started doing my work, and then I was so far ahead of my time, it was not
Yeah,
always received. And so I ended up people saying to me, "Oh, don't worry about it, Lindy. You're anchoring light." And it was like, that's great, but it doesn't pay the bills.
yeah.
And so it's been really difficult. And then I got into a lot of physical stuff and just sort of gave up. Like you said, there was a point where you just say, well, and it's really bad for you. And I realize now that it was. But I have a lot of gifts and I know that I need to get out. I've known this for a long time, but I haven't had the gumption or the energy behind me to do it. I feel like the new energy that's coming in is going to help, but I'm
No,
very overwhelmed and I'm feeling a little rusty.
you don't have the gumption and the energy because you're taking your past experience and bringing it to the present. I want you to take your future self and bring it to the present. You're thinking it's going to be like it was. Maybe you're really not, but I'm going to tell you, Lindy, I feel like you are.
Yeah,
And it's
it's
not
very
about the
hard.
new energy. You are the new energy. You
Yeah,
are the gift.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like I'm getting more wind under my wings just now.
So what I want to say to you is just be the wind under your wings. We don't need to get the wind under the wings. You are it. And you're going to have the gumption and the energy because you're going to be so excited. But anytime you go back and think about, well, this happened and I didn't get paid and I got exhausted, because that's true. People like you, I have a lot of respect for. I really do. I spoke to another woman recently who was doing it in the 80s and the early 90s. I'm like, thank you. Thank you. But this is a different time now. And I want you to really have a vision of that future self. And then I want you to bring that person into the present. And that's where I want you to live from, not the past.
Mm.
And you're gonna be like, oh my goodness, this is exciting. I'm finally doing it. But
Well, I feel like I can be free to be me. That's what it feels like now. I mean, it
right.
feels like I'm free.
But here's what I'm hearing, and this is why I asked this question, and this is why I said there's going to be ass kickery in this thing.
Mhm,
Don't wait to decide. Instead, decide. We
mhm.
need you, Lindy. We need what you have. And I'll tell you, there's teachers like us out there that need to hear what your experiences were like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have such reverence for people who did this way before us because I'm like, oh my goodness, thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah. We wouldn't be where we are without
Mm-hmm.
the path that you've put before us. So it's really
Mhm.
quite profound. One thing that you brought up, Lindley, and I don't say that you're holding on to this necessarily. Perhaps you are. You can self-determine, obviously. Um, but in our communities, oh, we're waiting for the next energy storm to pass, or we're waiting for the next opening, or we're waiting for the next, Taurus and whatever sign that it
Yes,
has to be in at whatever
yes,
degree.
yes.
And when that finally happens, then something's going to open magically for me. Then I'll find my purpose. Then I'll take action because it's aligned in the stars. And had I had waited 12 years for the perfect alignment of the conjunction that took place last week, I wouldn't have created anything. Had I waited, for 2020 to kick in because that was going to be a specific year, what am I waiting for? And take it apart from serving others. Take that out of it.
Mhm.
We're meant to live a vital life
And with your gifts.
of joy, of happiness. We can't live a vital life if we're not utilizing our gifts. It's not vital. We're
Yeah.
using others people's vitality to fill our vitality when we do that.
Yeah.
And so we have to fill ourselves up with ourselves. Be your best friend. Be the most interesting subject.
Just don't
Study
wait.
it, which is you. What'd you say, Marilyn?
Don't wait. I love that, John, because anybody who knows me and follows me, I'm very verbal about when someone says to me, I'm this anagram number and I'm this manifestor up my butt thing. And I'm like, please don't talk to me about that. Because if they're using it as a thing with, and I'm not saying you're doing this, Lindy, you just invited a teaching moment. So I want to thank you for that because it's a really good teaching moment. When somebody says to me, oh, I'm a number 3 and I can't blah, 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 I'm like, please stop it already. I don't mind you using those tools to help you elevate or expand or grow. But if you're identifying with with a Mercury or I'm this Mars or that, whatever, you're screwing yourself up.
Yeah.
So
It's
I'm
outside
very
of you.
much, sorry, go ahead, honey.
It's outside of you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Beautiful. There she is with her wisdom,
There you
Lindy.
go. Yeah,
So I bought my first house during Mercury retrograde. Like people would die signing a contract. I made over $500,000 on it.
amazing.
It's like people try to talk to me about Mercury retrograde. I'm like, get the F out of my face. Like, I don't want to hear it. That's not to say that if astrology helps you or those things help you, great. Don't let them become the excuse. We're just using it as a teaching moment. That's not what you said. But don't wait for the winds under your wings. Don't wait for the energy. John's right. Your vitality is going to suffer if you're not doing what you're meant to do. When people tell me they're sick, it's usually because, not saying there isn't real stuff out there, because I don't speak to that, but it is many times because we're not doing what we love to do. When I was bookkeeping, I felt sick every single day. I was really convinced that I was sick. No, I was friggin' sick of my life. I
Well,
wasn't
Marilyn,
doing what I was here to do.
and it's not because we're not doing what we love to do. It's because we know we're doing what we don't love to do. And
Yes.
it's leading our energy. We're aware of it. It's self-sabotage and it's self-inflicted. And we know, and somehow we don't think that we can find our way out. And again, that's why I think this course is so beautiful in the way that Marilyn's presenting it. From purpose to fashion, to fashion to passion. That's a Netflix show. The passion, because it's once that spark goes off, purpose to profit, sorry. I'll get the name right
Oh,
eventually.
who cares? It's okay.
It's so in alignment of, again, awakening and really flaming those embers that are inside all of us. And even if you think, even if you're on passion, if you're on it right now, what else wants to be demonstrated? What else is possible? Maybe even been successful for many years, but it's kind of like, okay, I'm kind of doing the same old thing, and it's just kind of trucking along, and some of the vitality has diminished. To re-spark the awareness again. And if you want to amplify the profits in it also and follow Marilyn's formula for all of it, it's just, it ignites a whole nother level.
It
Uh,
really does.
that's going to bring again that vitality, that passion, that purpose, which makes you like a central sun to all these people that are orbiting you because you become that magnetic. Um, and I'm not saying for the allure, the magnetism, but what a beautiful impact that you get to have knowing that you're sharing your love with others. There isn't a better job, truly.
So if I didn't do what I did, like I read this guy, Corey, he's an actor actually, and I'm allowed to use his name, but I'm not going to right now. And he came for a reading, just a regular life reading. And his father, who he thought was his father, came into the room, deceased, and the father's name was Joe. And Joe said to me, I'm not his father. His father's name is Lewis, and he lives where he grew up. And I said, Corey, Joe is telling me he's not your father. I didn't know Joe at all. He didn't tell me anything. And your father's name is Lewis, and he lives where you grew up. And Corey's like, I don't know who you're talking about. I've never met a Lewis. He went and found out that his aunt was married to a Lewis, and his mother slept with Lewis, the aunt's husband, and he did a DNA test and found his father. Didn't even know he existed, didn't even know there was a Lewis. And he was living where he grew up. Called me up. I still have the message to this day. Science has now proved what you do. I didn't have a father, and now I have a father because of you.
Wow.
Now imagine me holding back my gifts and not giving him that opportunity, that moment. That's what I don't want any of you doing.
Amazing. Amazing. So beautiful, Marilyn.
Thank you.
The link for the special offer, it's in the chat box. It's on the webpage. It is in the comments section on the replays. Y'all click on it. It's only $97. This is talk about igniting something within yourself. So beautiful. Marilyn, as we wrap up, what do we want to, what do you want to leave everybody with this evening?
There's one question in here I have to address really quick.
Okay, amazing.
It's Donna. She's like, and I love, Erin, what you answered. If I feel like I'm using my gifts, why do I need to make a business of it? What would your answer be to that, John?
I would examine first, how are you using those gifts? What's the, I think a lot of times when gifts awaken within us, we start having like this, like something's coming alive in me and it's beautiful. And I'm having this boxing experience of me and my gifts. My question to Don is like, how are you sharing those gifts with others?
Yeah, and if it's really speaking to you, great. But my question to you, Donna, would be, is there a worth issue, self-worth issue there? I'm not sure. Maybe it's not. Maybe somebody said, Erin said something great. Like if you already have a salary and you feel good about it, great. But I would push up against it and say, okay, that's totally fine. You get to do whatever you want to do. But is there something underneath it where you don't feel like you deserve to be paid for it? Just explore it. I invite you to explore it. You don't have to. You can do whatever you want to do. This is what I feel I have seen acceleration with people when they accept value for it. I have seen depletion in people who are of service at a detriment to themselves.
Well, another important aspect of this as well, and we haven't really spoken about this, but I think it's extremely relevant. Again, I'll use myself as an example. And through all of the sessions that I had, all the interviews, everything, I know that as I had experiences and I learned something and I integrated something, as I shared it, it would expand.
Yes.
Those gifts would become exponential over time. And there's a famous quote in A Course in Miracles. This is really the one that cracked the door open for me in public speaking as well. It's a passage, and I'm going to go ahead and recite it as best as I can. because all of it is so relevant. And I'm here only to be truly helpful.
Mm.
I am only here to represent He who sent me. I don't have to worry about what to say or what to do because He who sent me will direct me. I'm content to be wherever He wishes, knowing He goes there with me. And I will be healed as I allow myself to teach other people to heal. And just all of that, the understanding of that truth from my very first interview on BTO released any pressure and fear and thinking that I was doing it on my own. And also understanding that as I shared my healing journey with others, that I would be healed in the process. And how
So
cool is that?
true.
Yeah.
So true. So you want to know what I would leave everybody with
Yes.
is that it's that you were given these gifts for a reason.
Mhm.
These dreams in your heart are meant to be lived. They may not look exactly as you expected, but if you follow it, it's going to take you where you're meant to be. And it's going to be even more magical than you can imagine. So, my biggest thing is don't hide any longer. Allow yourself to be seen because there are people waiting to see you. They are waiting to see you and they're waiting to hear you. And I do hope that some of you come on the journey with me because I would love to get to know you and help you and really help you move forward.
Yes. And Marilyn will use some kickassery, but
I do.
it'll be fun. And
I
it's
always say you're going to have a boot print on your butt, but there's going to be a big heart around it.
and you'll be
My
laughing and you'll be laughing on the way out. Yeah.
Totally. And my students stay with me, I can't even call them students because they're masters in their own right. They stay with me for a really, really long time because they know I care so deeply.
Mm, beautiful.
All right.
Marilyn, thank you so much.
Thank
It's cool
you. Thanks,
to be here
everyone.
with you. Yeah.
You-
Fantastic call. Everybody, thank you for being here. Put your gifts out there. Put your gifts out there. Put your gifts out there, please, please, please. I love you guys. I look forward to seeing you on the next call. Dive in with Marilyn on her course, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye, everybody.